Okay, so this is MS Malik 681. I'm just doing a quick tutorial video or explanation video on how to do um, sliced animations for Retro Animator, specifically requested by Retro Rick, but maybe other people can benefit from this as well. So just to explain something, so when you have an animation, there are different rendering options. So this one here, sliced high memory savings at the cost of performance. This is the one I was using on my Street Fighter game. So Erok has explained what that does. Don't know if I should have got this image before, but let's just find it now. Sliced. No. Sorry, this video wasn't very well scripted. Just finally got some peace and quiet from my kids. I thought, let's just do it. Oh, I hope I don't have to go too far back on the Discord to find his example of sliced images. You know what, I'll just get it and then I'll restart my recording. Here we go. Okay, yeah, this is it. So Eric introduced a slice mode where it would go through the whole image and slice up all the individual parts to try to save memory. So this method here is good. It does work if you don't have a lot of animations. I mean, this not only slices up the image to make it use less data and take up less memory, it also does a bit of a compression on it as well. But what I was planning to do for my Street Fighter game was to take Ryu as he is and just maybe put Ken's head on him for a two-player mode. Maybe change his shoes and gloves to yellow. I haven't actually decided yet. I might just do Ken in full. Um, I'm still deciding. That's like the last thing I need to do for my Street Fighter game. Uh, but basically, I wanted to switch Ryu to use Retro Animator, so I could basically change his head around with Ken's quite easily. So with the slice mode, you do have a fast slice mode which gives less RAM savings, and slice mode uses high RAM savings. And as you can see on this image, this example image, let's just get that into my paint program. So yeah, you go along and you slice it up yourself. But with Retro Animator, what that does is you can take body parts and put them onto an animation. So let me think of one that has a lot of parts. Maybe the Dragon Punch. It's got quite a few parts here. So when you make an animation in Retro Animator, you use different body parts. So I'm highlighting them now to make up the full image. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to so there's no slice mode option in Retro Animator. What you can do is you can make an animation in Retro Animator, and then under the rendering options you can set it to slice mode. But as far as I'm aware, what that does is that flattens this whole image and then uses his Eric's, you know, his algorithm to make this kind of these slices on that image. The problem is this method is not very, let's say, it's done by, his code. It's AI. So an artist actually taking the time to look at an image, think about where can I save pixels, you'll definitely save a lot more pixels. So this is my Ryu. These are all his animations before on the left. and I've cut them down for retro animator and sliced them up here on the right. So as you see, that if you loosely look at it, it's definitely a lot less data here than there is here. A lot less data. So what I've done is, if you can see all these black lines, I've tried to make a little map for myself where I'm reusing animations. So I think a good example to give might be here is Hadouken, or let's say Fireball. So this Fireball animation, I'll just copy that over. Again, apologies, this video might be a bit long because it's not really scripted or anything, I just jumped into it. So as you can see, this is the Fireball animation here. I've sliced him up already to try to save the most memory that I can. And if you see this arrow here pointing down to these legs, so these are the legs for his hard punch. So you can see above the legs is his hard punch animation. So I've decided to use these same legs when he does a Hadouken because it loosely copies or looks a bit like the pose he does with a fireball. So I've already made this in retro animator, so I can go to his fireball animation. Not sure what I called it. Hadouken. So as you see there, that is the legs he uses for hard punch, but I think it fits quite nicely to his fireball. And these legs also are not for his fireball. I mean, again, I think that looks fine, but in the original animation, he actually, where were we? Here it is. So these legs kind of look like they're mirrored. These two legs. I tried that, but I mean, cutting these legs off completely and reusing other legs from other animations saved a lot more animation data than I could have saved by any kind of optimizations. So the people who are going to want to benefit from doing something like this is someone who has a game with a lot of animations, preferably animations that are more than 32 pixels wide. Maybe if they're not that wide, might be better off just using slice mode. But uh, the problem with this method is it requires a lot of time and effort from the artist, a lot. So I mean, I would actually recommend against it for most people because this took me absolutely ages and I thought it would never finish. Um, but the data saving is definitely there. I've compared it. I've saved about 100 kilobytes on this whole animation, but I've cut a lot of frames. I've also, like for example, even his fireball. There's like a back and forward, but there's a mid here, a middle animation. I just got rid of it. I was like, I don't need it. 2 frames is fine for me. So there's a lot of frames of animation I decided to cut where I thought it still looks okay. Uh, but the biggest saving was where you can reuse legs. Like it looks like these legs were used for 2 different animations if you follow these lines back. So his light punch when he's about to punch, his first animation to his Hadouken, it also is his pain animation as well. He uses the same legs. So you know, reusing legs, that's like half of his body. It's taking up quite a lot. Also, there's places where I have the arrows both ways. So for his walk animation, I'm using these legs on both sides, and I've also chopped them up to optimize them. And here as well, him finishing his kick combo, I use these legs for that, and also when he's about to do a light kick. So I mean, there's only so much I can say about that. Another thing is like this wasn't really me. This was Capcom. The top of Ryu's head hair is crazy how many animations actually use the exact same head, and you know he's reused so much in this whole sprite sheet. It's only 11 pixels wide, or tall, but if you're saving 11 pixels over so many animations, this is going to add up. So if you could do something like that and reuse like the top of the head or something. So I'll just show you some more examples. Like basically any picture you can see of mine where his top of his head is missing is probably this just goes on top. and I was shocked at just how many animations just reuse his head over and over again, and it perfectly fits, and yeah, it's brilliant. But again, that wasn't really me. That was Capcom who already did that. I just noticed it and applied it. So that saved a lot of pixel data right there. Um, so moving on. So this really, to get the most out of this, you'd need to use the rendering mode retro animator. So not retro animator fast, retro animator. This will hit performance. So if you've got a game that has a lot of bobs on screen, I mean this optimization is mainly for bobs, not sprites. If you're going to use sprites, this won't really help. I don't think you need to do this method. Uh, but bobs, they're sliced into 16 pixel slices, so they will benefit from this method and save memory compared to any other way. But the best way to show you obviously is to actually cut up a character right now in front of you. So um, I haven't started Retsu yet. Don't know if I'm actually going to do him. I mean, if I can get it working under 1 MB, I might do him. Um, but here, like for example, something like this, you'd first look at the sprite sheet and see if there's any legs you could reuse. So just taking a quick look at it, the legs on these two animations look almost identical. I think they are identical. So I could literally delete the legs on this one and reuse the legs on this one again for him. So I've saved what's that pixel data there. If I view the grid, I think I got that configured correctly. 16 by 16, yeah, that's fine. So what is that? That's about roughly 54 pixels high. Is that right? Yeah, let's say 55. So 55 pixels high. One, two, three, four slices. Uh, 4 times 55. So that's 220 pixels worth of data, or 16 times 220. That's how much data you're going to save just by getting rid of these legs. So a lot of data saved right there. Um, these legs here look very similar to these legs here. So again, you might be able to just reuse the whole legs. These legs are definitely exactly the same as these ones here. So for this animation, again, you'd save more legs. So when you can save half their body or their legs, that's the most likely thing you'll be able to reuse in a one-on-one fighting game like this. Um, sometimes like here, look, you can see his face is exactly the same there as it is there. So you could probably reuse his head there. Probably use it on the full animation, even though it's not exactly the same. Is it? It's just his mouth being open. It's almost the same. So a lot of the work might actually be modifying the actual like doing actual pixel artwork to fix the image. For example, if it's close to coming back again, if I just work on one animation right here now, this should make it a bit clearer as to how this works. So which one to pick? Let's just do his punching animation. So let's copy that. So this is what I've done for my whole Ryu, just try to optimize and get it done as properly or good as possible. So first thing I normally do is get rid of the shadow. So if I decide to do this on all characters, I'll be removing all of their shadows. So let's just get rid of that. I'll keep it on his feet because it looks like, yeah, maybe I'll keep that bit. Okay, so got rid of that shadow because that will take up more pixel data. I could do an external shadow anyway that goes about. So looking at this, hmm, so his fist hair doesn't really intersect. So his whole head hair can be cut, so that will save quite a bit of pixels. So let's just cut that off. Should I make a copy of it before I start? Well, there's a copy up there anyway. Actually, you know what? Let's make one copy. Let's just move him back a bit. And yeah, let's make a copy over here. Just in case I do something I want to change later. So yeah, let's cut his head off. Lift that up, just get that out of the way. And let's check his head. His head is 14 pixels wide. So yeah, by removing his head, let's just put it back. So if his head stayed, this whole thing here would have been like, actually, how far back does it go? Alright, let's just check the whole thing. So the entire thing would have been like, actually let's just look from the point where his head was removed. So yeah, it would have gone all the way back there, as far back as his foot, which is 1 pixel away from that. And yeah, it's about in line with his fist. So how wide is this? 257. So that's, am I looking at the right one? Yeah, 257. No, I don't think I am looking at the right one. Let me just modify that a little bit. Oh, that's the size down there. Okay, 92 pixels. I thought that was a bit high, 257. That's the X and Y position. So yeah, 92 pixels times 10, 11. So 11 times 92 pixels. By removing the head, by cutting it and moving it up, or separating it, basically, we are saving a hell of a lot of pixels. So let's try to visualize that. Uh, 10, actually 10 was the width. Sorry, I'm not used to this new version of GIMP. 10 is the width, and 92. I want it the other way. Yeah, I think it'll still work the other way. So 92. Why does that keep doing that? Let me just make that a bit wider. By 10. Ah, damn it. 10 by 92. And let's fill that in. What is I have no idea what I just did. Uh, no, no way. Why is emojis? I have no idea what just happened. I don't know why there's emojis on the screen right now. And I have no idea how to get rid of these emojis. I don't know what program these are attached to. Yeah, you can tell this is not scripted. Again, no idea what happened there. Let's try again. Oh my god. Hmm. Guess it's fill tool. The GIMP shortcut seems to be doing something else. So let's just use the fill tool to fill that in. So that's how much data was being used by the head being down. But now we've detached it. What is it now? 14 by 12. 92. I'm not sure if 92. So 92 was the width, but it goes by 16 pixel slices. So I don't think that's a. Don't think that goes into 16. No, it doesn't. 16 times 6. 96. Okay, yeah, that sounds familiar. 96. Okay, 10 times 96 was what we wanted. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so 10 times 96 is the pixel data with the head on, and now without it, finally we get there a year later. So the width is going to be 16, even though it shows 14 here. It goes by 16 pixel slices. So 11 by 16, 16 by 11. So let's do it the other way around. No, it doesn't. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you can still tell. So before we removed the head, it was this much data. After we removed the head, it was this much data. You can see a clear, massive difference in the amount of data being used now uh, with that head removed, or how much data you've saved is a massive, massive saving. So, and that was just, that was just taking that little bit of the head off. So let's keep looking, see what else we can do. So we can slice off this hand, we can slice off this arm, and then with this body, the body is quite, there's not much you can do with it. Yeah. Okay, there's some empty space here we could work with really, but we've got to go on the 16 pixel slices. Mm. Oh, it actually works out quite good. Okay, so no, doesn't work out good, does it? No, no, we can do that. We can make that work. Okay, so I actually have done this a little bit wrong. His back foot. Let's do it tight to that pixel slice. So what happens here is that is where his leg comes down. So as you see, uh, no, that's okay. That's okay. Actually, let's check this. 16. Where are you? That's 16 right there. Okay, so before this leg goes so far back, so what I'm doing is I'm measuring from the front of his foot down here, 16 pixels wide, how much of his leg can fit into this before it gets pushed too high. So let's just separate that. We'll push that down. So now where this foot was, you would have taken all of this as data. That's all been saved. Now if we just cut out, that's just 16. So now that's 16 by 13. Whereas before it was like, I mean, if we go from this slice, it was going all the way back here. So it was 64 by 13, but now it's 16 by 13. So we've saved a shed load of data just by cutting that foot down. And what I want to see here is, yeah, no, that's not bad. So we'll do the same cut with this leg back here, and separate that. About the same saving on that foot as well, because all this empty space here in the middle is gone now. This was all being taken up as data before, but now we've separated the legs. This will just be a 16 by 13 slice here. This will also be a 16 by 13 pixel slice here. So these two have been separated. With the rest of his body, so with this bit here, so we can separate this back here, just push it away. So what we've done there is you've saved probably, how high did he go? So we remove the head, so this is the maximum height it would have gone. So 16 by 65. So 16 by 65, we've brought it up to about so it's actually 42 by 16. So we've saved that much data, 42 by 16. So that is the actual, physical data in that section that has been saved by just slicing this backwards a bit. So you need to constantly look at the 16 pixel grid and see where you can save data. So from what I can see, there's not really much you can do with this section of the body. You're stuck. This all has to be one big chunk of his body right here. There's a lot of open space here. We might be able to save some space. Let me just check what 32 pixels is. 32. So yeah, his waist does fit into 32 here. Doesn't look like it might even be worth. I mean, we could save some data, but not a lot. How far down can we go? Alright, let's get that tight. Let's see. That's about it. Might be able to get one more pixel down. So if we wanted to maybe go a bit further, cut that off. So if I wanted to, what I could do is I could save another 16 pixel slice here if I decide to get rid of this hand hair and just cut off that little bit of his clothing. I probably wouldn't do that myself, but just for this example, why not? So, I mean, as long as his hand doesn't overflow with this line here. So I'll just try to remember this. 1, 2 fingers, and that's it. So, I could just do a bit of quick sprite work here to try to keep the hand if you want. You don't have to keep it. Could just delete it from the whole picture, but where's the eraser? So 2 fingers. Can't remember what his hand looks like now. It looks kind of silly, so I'm going to remove it completely. So just get rid of the hand, and this can come up 1 pixel, and now I can make that 32 pixel wide one again. So you see this 1 pixel is going over. So this is about as far as you could take it, but if you want to, you could just do a quick sprite edit there. Go 1 pixel further down. Where was it again? I think it was there. 32 pixels. Is that 32? Yeah, that is. And let's see how far down we can go with it. So 32 maxes out there. Okay, so if we separate this part of the body, what is that, 32 by 19, we will save one of the extra slices here because this is taking 1, 2, 3 slices on his body. So you'd save 16 by 19. Doesn't sound like a massive amount, but if you've got an animation like this for a fighting game, you've got lots of frames of animation. So little wins like this will keep adding up. So what I'll do here is I'll just grab all these pieces and move them down together. So it's easier to put back together. So let's cut this guy out now. 32, where was it? 32. Make that tight again. 32 by 19 if I remember. Just thinking if there's anything more we can do here. Maybe I could bring this in for 1 extra pixel. Is it really worth it though? Nah, nah, this fine. So let's move him down 1. again, this part of the body, there's nothing you can do. You gotta basically deal with it. So when you got a long limb or piece of his body which is stretched out like this, you want to what you want to do when you're cutting it up, you want to get the furthest part away. So if you're deciding not to actually modify or edit anything, you can just get the furthest slice away, because you can see on the 16 pixel grid where this one is. So move that forward by 1 or 2 pixels, keep that in the next selection and move that forward. So now I would say this one is complete. So what we've done here is this hand is now only taking up, so this part of the body here would have taken up all the way to the end of the hand. It would have taken up all that space, or pixel space, all the way across. But now this only goes from here to here. So what is that? 44 by 20. It's not 44 by 20 because we go by the 16 pixel grid. So it's 48 by 20. And then this arm here, this section now takes up 16 by 14. And finally the hand uh, takes up 10 by 16. So yeah, if you can get uh, one of the slices to be as thin as possible, the thinner it is. So even if this was 1 pixel, it would still take the 16 pixels, but the thinner it is, the less pixels it take. I mean, we could bring that thumb down maybe 1 pixel if you wanted, but if I'm doing this from my game properly, I probably wouldn't do that. I would leave it the way it is. But with a fist, like, you could potentially bring that thumb down, but it would save like maybe 1 pixel, maybe two. Not really worth the effort. So yeah, I mean, that's about as optimized as you can get. And then what I would do now is start, you know, sending these individual pieces off to get processed. So I'll give an example of how I'll save it. You know what, I might as well just put this into Retro Animate as well so you can see the whole process, since I've already done the whole thing. So I normally start from the bottom left or the top left and work my way across. So I do all these slices, then these slices, then these. So let me show you how that is. So I'd grab them at their actual size. I wouldn't go across the whole 16 pixel. Um, so you know, I'll just do like this is the whole picture here. Copy it and paste it as a new image, and let's export that to my um, put in my example project. Why not? I'll chuck in my example project. It's not Ryu, but I'll chuck him in Ryu's. Make a new folder from. I think I'll get away with the new folder here. Retsu. Actually, you know what? Forget the new folder. I'll just name him Retsu so you can easily find him. So let's put his name as Zero, not Retsu, just Zero. Just so he's at the beginning of the list. So what animation was this? Hard punch underscore 01. So I mean, you can tell from these, block 01, block 02, block 03. So that's how I named them. So this old hard punch 01. I think everything's okay here. Not used to this version of GIMP. I usually not use 2.10, but it's a new version that came with this operating system. In case anyone's wondering, I'm using Linux. This is Catchy OS. So 16 by 13, export as, yeah, that's a lot easier. So we'll name this number 2. Called it HP, it's like health, but whatever. Then let's move on to the next slice. This is all together, so let's do the head. 3. I mean, you can use any naming or exporting method you like, but for me, this is how I did it. File, export as, 4. File, export as, 5. File, export as. Last two pieces now, shouldn't take long. File, export as, 9. Okay, so these are all the individual parts that are going to make up his punch. Let's export one more file. File, export as, 0_reference. Okay, now let's move over to Retro Animator. So hopefully those parts will show up here. I'm in the wrong. Right, okay, documents, Amiga. Yeah, they're here. Okay, so with the Retro Animator, first time you use it, you won't have a JSON file, so you can just save your project as a JSON file. Even though it's empty, just save it, and that will make a JSON file, which has to be in your Scorpion folder where you're going to make the actor, um, and that will show all the animations. So when you make an animation first, you want to go over here to the right, and I mean, you can make the frame first, and then you can make the animation after. So let's make the frame first. So let's call this Retsu underscore hard underscore punch underscore 0. It's actually 02. It'll be the second frame of his animation, but whatever. Um, so what you can do is, if you have the entire image, you can put that onto here. So what you do, you find it on the list. Let's just delete that. So you find it on the list, left click on it and pull it over here. So when you're positioning it, I mean, this is exactly like in Scorpion where you would position your character. So I normally do them so their feet are like literally um, the end of the feet is touching the red line. So once you've got him highlighted with this blue thing around him, you can move him about with the WSD keys to get him in position accuracy to put him exactly where you want. If there's a lot of movement you need to do, you can hold shift and move it about to move it about quickly. Or you can just use your mouse and move him about wherever you want. So if there's a specific part that you want to highlight, you can actually find it here on sprites for this. Because I've inserted this sprite, it will come onto this list, so you can highlight him here. and I could use this as a guide to start putting together this animation. Like I've got all the parts here, but I can use this as a guide to just put on top. Um, so if you hold Control and use your mouse wheel, you can zoom in, which normally helps quite a lot. And as long as you're not clicking on a part, if you left click anywhere, you can use that to drag around the screen as well, which is very helpful. So with this, you might want to line up a certain part of his body and then put it on and let go and see if it looks right. This does look wrong. So if I line up this white bit here with this white bit, oh, I think I pressed D too much. So that looks right now. Then get the bottom is for, try to do this as quickly as possible. Go up to the top of his head. His body. That's the part I just did. So this part of his body. What to line up? Not line up. Okay, this right there. And then lower body. Whereabouts is that? I can't even tell. I think I deleted some pixels, that's why. Okay, yes, lose that bit to line it up. That should be right there. His foot. So far, so good. His arm. And then finally his hand. Okay, let's get the full body image and just delete that and see if he looks okay. Any parts look a bit off. Oh, where am I going? Okay, without control it zooms in and out. Okay. What does control do? Shift? Alt? Nothing. Okay, sorry, zooming is just zooming in and out. I mean, there you have it. That's the completed animation there. So what we want to do, well, it's a frame. We need to add it into an animation. So if we call the animation Retsu underscore HP for hard punch underscore R. So obviously that will make it a flippable animation in Scorpion. So as you can see, all my animations end with underscore R. You can do underscore L as well, but that will just mean you can flip it to face the other way as well. So once you select that animation, find the frame you want to put in and just right click on it, or left click on it, so you highlighted it. So these two are highlighted. Then you right click and say add frame to animation, and then you can add your timing on there. So Scorpion cannot change the timing on these animations. You need to change the timing here, and then it will update in Scorpion. But be careful, because if you change anything on the animation here in Scorpion, for example, if you add some kind of frame event, or you change the type of compression used on the frame, then you know as soon as you change anything here, it will reset everything you've done, unless you've loaded this again after changing it from Scorpion. So if you do anything in Scorpion to the animations, adding any events, adding any kind of loop, I think you set the loops in RetroAnimate as well, but changing anything to do with the animations on here, make sure you reload the JSON file again to reflect any changes. Or just close this whenever you go back to Scorpion. That way you're always forced to open this again and do it. So you can play your animation if you've actually got an animation. Some parts you might be reusing mirrored. So I mean, when you put a part in here, maybe I'll undo that. Control and Z does undo. So in some cases you might have a part where you just right click on it and say toggle X flip, and now it's facing the other way. So for some animations you might need to do that. Use the same part again, but flip the other way, and that's how you would do it. Also, there might be a situation where you need priority on your sprite. So if I wanted the head to show above his hand, I would actually grab the sprite here and move it above the hand. So now the head would show on top of the hand. So let's just undo that. Um, but that's the basics of it. So now if I go to Scorpion, let's load this project up. So let's close my Street Fighter project, open documents. If you're using Wine as well, like me, I'd definitely recommend putting the file in the documents folder because it's just easier to get to. So I've got an Amiga folder in there which I use. So if we go to animations, there should now be a Retsu animation here somewhere. Maybe not. Did I not save it? Maybe I didn't. Cancel that. Save. JSON. Save. Overwrite. Retsu. Interesting. Yes, definitely not there. Okay. Load. Yeah. Retsu HP underscore R. Should be at the top of the list. RE. Did I open the right project? Let's close it. Open it again. Documents. Amiga. They are definitely all Ryu. Save. Documents. Amiga. Actors. Where my Scorpion? He's not updating, is he? You could tell this is not scripted. Oh my god. Let's go through all these individually and try to find out where he is. I can't even press up and down on these. Come on, where are you? Right, too hard punch. Okay. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's why. I was looking at the first bit. I was looking for Ryu. I was looking for Retsu. That's why I messed up. So when you save a retro animation, whatever you name this JSON file, whatever this file name is, so if we go to rename that, that is ryu.json. Every animation will start ryu underscore. So if this was, let's say, Retsu's animations, I named it retsu.json, every single animation will start retsu. So after all the animations in Retro Animator, I could just name, like here, I've named these like attack, hard punch, attack, hard punch, attack, hard, light kick, light punch, block, dead, dragon punch. I didn't have to put his name because that will automatically get populated because of the way Retro Animator works. So here's his hard punch here. By default, it's always Retro Animator fast. So I could update that to Retro Animator so it's a bit better on compression, and then I can start setting events, what happens when you finish it, prevent move, all this stuff. Anything on here, I've already changed retro animator fast. So this JSON file has already been updated and saved as soon as I did that. So I need to load it in there again before I edit any animations. Otherwise, be prepared to, have to do a lot of work again. Um, there was a little shortcut if you want to play around with rendering methods I found. So if you open this up in Sublime Text, um, so up here it says project type retro animator, so just be careful with that one. But here, um, this is idle animation, spelled idle. Anyway, if I change that now, if I go to his idle animation for Ryu, which again I spelt wrong. It's spelt right there. Um, maybe that is how you spell idle. It just looks weird on Sublime Text. Sorry, my bad. No, it's definitely IDLE. So what animation is this? It's an event. Okay. Either way, let me see. Did I actually delete that myself? I don't know what's happened there. Either way, I know that's his idle animation. If I change it here to, let's say, retro animator fast, should update it straight away. Yeah, there you go. Straight away it's changed to retro animator fast. So let's say if I want to change all animations to retro animator fast, I could just copy this, select this like this, and just say Control H, and I can change all of them to retro animator fast, just like that. Uh, but you want to be careful because the project type should be retro animator, not retro animator fast. So it could change the project type as well. If I save that and go back to Scorpion, now if I look at all of his animations, they should all be retro animator fast. So it updates straight away. So this is a bit of a shortcut if you want to play about with other rendering methods just to see how much RAM usage they take up and stuff. Still, I don't know why that's spelt wrong, but whatever. That's my own problem. Um, so that is a little shortcut which can. Oh, that was not important. That's a little shortcut that you can do just to change your rendering methods. And that is the whole process from beginning to end to get the actual animation in there. Um, but yeah, probably the last thing is my project runs on 25 FPS. If you've got 50 FPS, it might be different, but for me, the timings are weird. So let me just show you something like get his hard kick. It's got a lot of frames in his hard kick. Uh, hard kick, where are you? Isn't it at the top? Hard punch, hard kick. Here we are. So see, it's 4 frames, 2 frames, 2 frames, 2 frames, 2 frames, 2 frames, 4 frames. This is how they show up in Scorpion and how many frames they use. You can't change the frames here. There's normally a box down here which lets you change stuff like that, but you can't do it here. You have to do it in Retro Animator. So if we go to his hard kick animation, you can see that the timings look a bit weird. So the way it works is on 25 FPS. I don't know about 50. You have to experiment. So when you do like if I want to, let's say, do a delay of 4 frames, I have to go over the 2 times table and count, and that will give me 0.08. So uh, maybe I'll show you in the text editor of some kind, file new. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, if you want to get 4 frames, you've got to go along 2 times table. So it starts off at 0.02. That's 1 frame, and then shit 0.04, that's 2 frame delay, 0.06, 3 frame. So this is how you got to figure out how to do the delay, which is weird. I don't know why it works like that, but that's how it works. Um, and obviously 4 is at 2 4, so it's 2 frame delay on all of these, and then again 4 frame. So if I go to something, I don't mind messing this up. This is just an example project. I've actually incorporated this into my main project. So if we play about with this, I mean, you could do something 0.0 or 0.20, and let's save that and see the delay in Scorpion, 10 frames. So 2 4 6 8 10. So yeah, 20 would definitely be 10 frames. But at some point you go too high and you need to start doing it a different way. So once you get to 0.2, so 0.1, I think if you do it like that, if you do, so not 0.01, if you just do 0.1, I think that is 5 frames there. So if we save that, yeah, 5 frames. So that goes up in fives if you do it like that. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So if I do, well, we only got 9, wasn't it? 0.9. I think that should be 45 there. Uh, so definitely with this method, you'd have to do some experimenting to figure out exactly how it works. But yeah, and if we do 1, I think 1 is 50. Where we go, 1 is 50, I believe. Well, I haven't saved it. Yeah. Okay. Another quirk I should point out with Retro Animator is if I want a event trigger on one of these animation frames, let's say this one, yeah. Let's put an event trigger, uh, run a code block. It doesn't matter because I'm not going to actually run it, destroy all blocks, whatever. So that's saved now. If I go to this, I'll load it because I just modified it in Scorpion. Go back to the hard kick. That doesn't really show up here, but if I had a like for a, if I had a call box for an attack, um, everywhere you use this frame, it will have that same call box. So if I make a duplicate of this frame, that will also have the same attack call box as this one. So if you want this frame to have a different attack call box, you need to, not the animation but the frame, you need to duplicate the frame and then change the name of the frame and have a totally different frame for that different call box. I don't know if you're ever going to have a situation like that. It's the same if you want to have a Scorpion event on an animation frame. Let's say if I want an event to trigger on the first frame but not on the last one, but the two frames are the same. Um, yeah, thanks Scorpion. Maybe this has been fixed, but before they would both have the same animation, or sorry, trigger, event trigger on them. So maybe that's been fixed now. I'm sure I had that issue a little while ago. Okay, yeah, that's been fixed, and that's a brilliant fix. So before you would have the same trigger on both of them. If you updated it on one, any other frame of that type would also have the same trigger. But okay, sorry, that was a waste of time. I can't think of anything else with Retro Animator. So that's it. That's how you would save it. And again, this is only for people who want to do a game with a lot of animations, with a lot of data to potentially save. It does take a hell of a lot of time, a hell of a lot of effort, a lot of looking at um, images to try to figure out how much, where can I save as much pixel data as possible, and try to. Sometimes it looks like this. This was like this light kick here is also his flying kick just by changing this foot. So I've saved almost his whole body in pixel data. So sometimes you can save so much pixel data, but it really does require a lot of love and effort from the artist who's going to do it. Sorry, this video's run on so long. But yeah, any questions, drop them in the comments. Come to the Scorpion Engine Discord, and if you want to look at my Street Fighter project, I'll put a link up to the GitHub page where you can download it. Every time I do any update, anytime I even open this project, it gets updated on GitHub straight away. So if you look at it, you'll have the most up-to-date version of this game. There'll be debug stuff happening because I'm still working on it, but I'm very close to finishing it, and hopefully I'll have maybe a 1 megabyte or 2 megabyte ECS version to this soon. Uh, but for now, guys, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.